This video is sponsored by Skillshare. In this video, we are going to take a look at what it takes to make book covers that actually sell your book. Welcome to my channel, where I talk about how to make money online with things like self-publishing books on Amazon KDP. And if that is something that you're interested in, please take a moment to subscribe if you haven't already, so that you don't miss out on any new videos I release every single week, just like this one. The cover of your book is so important because it is basically what sells your book. It's what makes customers click on your book when it's a small thumbnail on the search results page surrounded by hundreds of other books. We're going to take a look at what it takes to make a book cover that does stand out from all the rest and how you can go about doing that for yourself. First of all, why don't we head over to Amazon and take a look at some of the best-selling low and medium content books and have a look at the covers and see if we can figure out what it is about these covers, how these covers are helping make these books best sellers, or at least what part the cover plays in amongst all the things that does help make a bestseller. Coloring books are one of the most popular types of low content books that sell on Amazon, and there are quite a few bestsellers in this category. I've just done a search for basic coloring book on Amazon, so it's going to bring up a lot of results, but I'm doing that in the hopes that we can see a variety of the different bestsellers within the coloring book category. Scrolling through, we can already see the first line of search results has 2 bestsellers. We've got a couple more bestsellers down here, another couple there. And just because a book doesn't have a bestseller badge doesn't mean it is selling a lot of books. There are lots of books on Amazon selling a lot and they don't have a bestseller badge, but those ones just stand out because they have the little orange bestseller badge, and of course they do sell a lot. So the first one that I can see are these couple of best-selling books by Karen Sue Chen. If I click on her author name, it will take us over to the author central page, and this is the area where we can see all the books by this particular publisher and a little bit about her or about the brand or about the people publishing the books. So first of all, just information about the author. This is saying that she is an artist. She has a love of nature and animals, and as well as a love of art. Now, the reason that I just quickly looked at that was because when we look at her coloring books, you can really see those things infused within her coloring books. So she has this love of nature and animals. So obviously there are animals within her coloring books, but her covers are also styled in the sense of nature. They are these earthy colors, these muted colors. They're not bright, they're not bold colors that are sort of hitting you in the face. And in terms of coloring books, this isn't the only way to do it in terms of a design, but these kind of colors and these kind of designs are really resonating with customers. Generally with coloring books, we see a lot of black covers, black backgrounds in the covers with the coloring images sort of the focus of the coloring book cover, sort of like this style here. A year or two ago, this was probably the most popular style of cover for a coloring book because it makes the coloring image stand out with that black background, but everybody was doing that. So over the last year or so, people are trying to come away from that to make their books stand out. But you can still see coloring books do have a lot of black on their covers with a big bright image on the front of it. But just going back to these ones, they're very simple. They have a nice muted or earthy kind of colored background, and then they just have an image in the center on the cover, just sort of giving an idea of the types of images, the style of coloring pages within this book, so the customer knows exactly what to expect. So if they are looking for this type of design, this type of coloring page, they're going to be happy when they purchase the book and they're going to get exactly what they want. So there's not too much on the cover. There's just the title and a little subtitle just to give a bit of information about what the book's about or what type of coloring images are in this book. And simple, minimalistic sort of designs has worked for this particular publisher. The next coloring book that I wanted to look at was this one. So this one doesn't quite have that black background, but a very dark navy blue background, with the title being the main focus of this particular coloring book because the theme of this book is swearing. And so what they've done is they put that swear word in bright red so you can't miss it. It stands out from the cover and all the other coloring books on the page. So people's eyes are going to be drawn to that bright red swear word. And if the customer is someone who loves swear words, as a lot of people seem to do, they will want to buy this book because this is one of the most popular books, coloring books on Amazon, and it is a coloring book full of swear words. So making that title stand out so that it not only stands out on the cover so the customers know what is in this, but that it stands out from that search results page and just grabs the attention of whoever is searching for coloring books. And the next coloring book, the last coloring book that I'll look at, is this creepy kawaii pastel goth coloring book. Again, this is one of the most popular coloring books on Amazon, and because it is a pastel goth coloring book, you don't necessarily have to color in the coloring book using pastel colors, but that was sort of the idea that they had when they created it. And so of course, when they've designed that cover, they've used all pastel colors, and pastel colors are really popular. People love pastel, just like the first set of coloring books we looked at. This sort of like pastel muted kind of, not a big bright colorful smack you in the face kind of colors are not being used, and they work really well. And this particular cover has sort of focused on both the title and the style of image that you're going to get in this book. So the title's really big so people can see it's kawaii, because kawaii is usually a cute kind of thing, and they've taken that cuteness but combined it with creepy. So they want customers to know, if you're into kawaii, well, here's a creepy kawaii book. So if you like creepy things and you like kawaii, this is the coloring book for you. And that's what they have focused on their cover. So again, it's quite minimal. They haven't got too many words on the cover. They're not trying to sort of put a lot of text and explanation on the cover. They're trying to use just their title and an image to sort of portray what is in this book. And so when you do searches yourself on Amazon for books, do you ever just notice what sort of books stand out to you? And maybe you should just start to take notice of what jumps out at you when you're browsing search results on Amazon, and start to analyze, why did it jump out to you? Why was your eye drawn to particular covers? And maybe look at the ones purposefully that you didn't notice, and have a look and see if you can figure out what it was that made them just blend in and have you not noticed them. Now, the next search that I've done is a gratitude journal search. So doing a search for gratitude journals, we can look through all of the books. It doesn't matter whether it is self-published or not. It doesn't matter whether it's printed by Amazon or not. We just want to take a look at all the covers and see what it is that either makes it stand out, or what it is that sort of makes it blend in and become unnoticeable. And generally, each niche will have a specific theme that most of the book cover designs stick to. For example, with gratitude journals, the cover designs and the colors that are used tend to be quite muted, natural, earthy sort of covers, quite minimalistic, quite calming and quite relaxing types of designs on their covers. You won't often see many journals, gratitude journals or mindfulness types of journals, that have really bright colors on them, because generally journals are meant to help people relax, help calm minds, help calm thoughts, and just sort of create thoughtfulness as opposed to evoking excitement. And these sorts of things are the sorts of things you need to think about and take into consideration when designing your cover for your particular niche. So just in comparison to the gratitude journals we just very quickly looked at, we have this book here, which is a food and fitness journal, or maybe more of a logbook or tracker type of book, where the customer can track for 90 days their food and fitness and see if they meet their food and fitness goals for that 3-month period. And it does use bright colors, because this type of book is trying to encourage positivity and wellness and excitement around something that a lot of people find daunting and scary, and that is doing something like a lifestyle change and bringing better health into their life. So this logbook to track food and fitness uses those elements like bright colors to help portray excitement about that health and wellness. Now, I would just like to take a moment in this video to thank our longtime friends and sponsor of this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes and members across 150 countries. It's a place for people like me who just love learning and getting inspired to be creative. There are so many elements to creating and publishing books that you are going to have to, at some point, learn new skills or brush up on existing ones, and Skillshare will be able to help you with that. I love that Skillshare has such a massive range of classes available to you across a range of different topics. As I'm always wanting to upgrade my skills around graphic and book cover design, this week I took a class with Lindsay Marsh called Color Theory Basics for Graphic Designers to help me really hone in on using the right colors on my covers. Because Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, it is ad-free, which is great for productivity with less distractions, and new premium classes are being always added. Skillshare has a great offer for the first 1,000 people. To use the link down in my description box below, and you will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. This trial gives complete access to the library of classes, so you can learn something new right now, today. Okay, so we've taken a look at a few examples of book covers. I really do encourage you to spend a lot of time on Amazon and on other book marketplaces and look at as many books as you can and really take notice of what's going on the covers. Look at the books that sell well and also look at the books that don't sell and see what the differences are between the bestsellers and the ones that don't sell very well at all. And what is the difference? What is it about the book that sells that makes it different from the book that doesn't sell? There are a few elements to consider when designing your book cover that can help your odds of creating a cover that does really help sell your book for you. Let's go over some of those now. One thing to consider is the niche or the genre that your book is going to be in. As we saw in those earlier examples, the journal niche generally had covers that were quite sedate and calming and not as colorful as, say, the logbook or the food and fitness tracker for tracking wellness, which was very colorful to provoke excitement. Each niche is going to have its characteristics that have been proven to help sell books in that particular niche. And while on one hand, you do want to make your book so that it stands out from the rest, you also don't want it to look like a carbon copy of all the other books out there, because then it will just have the opposite effect of making your book stand out. But sometimes customers don't like things that are too different from everything else out there. So it's a fine line to find something that makes your book stand out. So it is slightly different from all the others, but not too different that customers are not drawn to it. So you do want to figure out what are the main themes in terms of book covers in your niche and incorporate those main themes that each niche has within it. The next thing to do is get rid of any clutter on your cover. When you're creating your cover, you're usually looking at it in whatever program it is that you use to make book covers, and it's usually the size of your computer screen or even zoomed in possibly. And so sometimes we think we've got a lot more space to work with and we've got a lot of area to fill. And sometimes we can find ourselves filling space unnecessary or feeling like we have to totally fill the cover with stuff. But we do have to remember that when a customer is looking at our covers initially, when they're in the search results on Amazon, they are just looking at really small thumbnails in the Amazon search results. And when you started to just add a lot of stuff to fill the space and then shrink that image down to a thumbnail size, that stuff isn't as clear anymore as what it was when you were looking at in a big size on your screen. You need to make sure that your cover is clear and clean, easy to read, easy to see, even at that small thumbnail size. And the best way to do that is to remove anything unnecessary that is cluttering the cover or that is causing things like maybe the title to be too small or hidden behind some other element or some other image that you've placed on the cover. We don't need to fit every single piece of information about the book on the cover. You need to have something on the cover that lets the customer know what the book's about and draws them in enough to click on it, and then all the other information about what the book is about, how it's going to help the customer or what they're going to get out of it is going to be within your description or within your A+ content or something like that. Or they can just look at the inside feature if your book has it to get that further information about the book to decide whether it is something they want to buy. You can't try to fit everything on the cover in the hopes that that's what's going to make the customer click on it, because a lot of times it's going to kind of put the customer off because it'll look cluttered. They won't be able to read the title or even sort of decipher what the book's about if there's too much going on. Now, speaking of titles, this is usually what the main focus of your cover should be. You need to make sure that you are showing potential customers the most important part of your cover. And for low content books, that is often the title, but it can also sometimes be the contents of the book. And this is sort of the case, for example, with a puzzle book. If you are selling a word search puzzle book, for example, the title doesn't necessarily have to be the main focus of the cover. You can put a large image of a word search puzzle on the cover, and that would easily convey what that book is about. Whereas something like a gratitude journal or a logbook of some kind would need to have the title as the biggest main focus on the cover so that the customers know exactly what it is. There isn't really any image that you could use on the cover of a gratitude journal that would make it known to customers that that is in fact a gratitude journal. Now, the font and the colors on your cover is also extremely important. There's no point putting the title on the cover of your book if you have picked a font that is just too hard to read. Again, it is something that needs to be able to be read when it's as small as a thumbnail on the search results page, as well as when it is at full size. Colors can also cause issues and make things harder to read or harder to see. And you need to be really mindful of what colors you use together and make sure that the colors that you're using complement each other rather than sort of fighting or clashing against each other. Another mistake I see made on book covers that don't sell well is that too many different colors are being used. Generally, you only want to pick a couple of different colors to use on your cover, and that'll help it stay really nice and clean instead of making it look like there's just too much going on and it's too messy. So once you have gotten an idea in your head of how you want the cover to look, how do you then go about bringing that design to life? Of course, the first option is doing it yourself, and as low and medium content book publishers, we tend to try and do pretty much everything ourselves. Using a program like Adobe Photoshop is a great option, or if you are on a budget or if you don't have time to learn how to use a professional graphic design program like Photoshop, you can just as easily use Canva, especially if it is more of a simple design. Now, it might take a bit of time to get the hang of placing elements on the cover in the correct positions so that it is pleasing to the eye. You don't want things to be off center or too high or too low, as well as getting a handle on what colors go well together, what colors print nicely, what colors display nicely on a computer screen, and the types of fonts that are the best to use. But you can definitely go the DIY route if you prefer to do that. I think it's also really important to be brutally honest with yourself about your graphic design skills and just how good of a cover you can create. If it is not your strong suit, that is totally fine, and you shouldn't waste hours and hours creating book covers that just cannot compete with all the other books that are professionally designed out there, because it just will not end up selling. Getting someone to help do this part of the book creation process is probably going to be the best option for a lot of people, and it can be done for a lot less money than you might think. And that investment in having a professionally designed book cover can really make a big difference. And a lot of time, the investment that you spend, you will get back quite quickly. One place that you can get book covers made is on Fiverr. Once we're on Fiverr, all we need to do is just type in something like book cover, and then we have a whole heap of services, people who create or can create a book cover for you. So what you would just need to do here is scroll through all the different people offering this as a service. Take a look at things like previous designs that they have created. They will have images of book covers they've done in the past. Have a read through the reviews and see what other people are saying about them. And when you find someone who you like what people have said about them in the reviews and you like the previous designs that they have done, take a look at the price, and if you are happy to pay that price, and then send them through information of the idea that you have, if you've got one, of what you want your book cover to look like. Another place that you can find someone to create a book cover or do book cover design for you is Upwork. When you start a new job with Upwork, you can set the requirements so that you filter for people who have a specific rating or above for obvious reasons, that they have earned a minimum amount of money, which means they have worked with other people already, and you can set how much you're willing to pay for the job. Ideally, something between $25 and $50 should get you a cover. So from there, you're then given a list of people who match those filters, and you can go through, look at their portfolio of work, and invite the ones you like to apply to your job. If they have not provided a portfolio or any examples of their work, do not invite that person to apply for your job. There are other places, of course, that you can go to find people, freelancers who can create book covers for you, but those two are probably the most popular two out there. Both sites are pretty reliable. They have lots of different options of people or freelancers who you can hire. And the best part is that you can read reviews about their work, seeing as they do get rated by the people who have used them before. So if you are not very good at book cover design or whatever it is that you're saying you're good at, that will pretty quickly get filtered through with people's reviews and ratings of using that person. If you really don't want to, or you really don't have a budget to spend on a cover at all, then I would suggest doing some courses around graphic design, or at the very least, spend some time on YouTube and watch videos from professional graphic designers to learn the principles of graphic design, and in particular, book cover design. Getting the right cover can really make a world of difference. I hope this video has helped provide some insight into book covers, just how important they are, and what you can do to make your book covers the best they can possibly be. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.